Hi, I'm Tom Galise, a lifelong movie fan.
I'm Gretchen Fabiani, also a lifelong movie fan, and this is Generation Gap. Today we're coming together for the first time to talk about the movie Casablanca. So just a little bit of background for Casablanca. Came out in 1942, directed by Michael Curtiz. I think that's how you say his last name. Curtiz, my bad. Mm-hmm. My personal favorite movie of all time.
Oh, I agree. We didn't even talk about this. Yeah. I was watching snippets today, and I just thought, this really is such a perfect film.
It is legitimately...
And it was released without much expectation.
No, it was like a propaganda film.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about because we look back on it now and it's such a wartime classic, but it was developed as pretty much just part of a series of propaganda films that Warner Brothers just kind of throwing out there.
Yeah. In fact, it was delayed because of the Why We Fight series.
Yeah. Released in 1942, so less than...
Late 42, almost 43.
Yeah.
November.
So, but very shortly after Americans' involvement in World War II.
And yet it takes place the
day before World War II actually kicks off.
Right.
Well, in our neck of the woods anyway.
Right.
Before we start digging into the movie, I thought it'd be cool to go into our first experience with Casablanca, if you can remember.
You know, I don't even know if I really can remember it. I saw it a long time ago when I was younger, and I don't remember being that impressed. I was probably more into action films, and I knew Humphrey Bogart as the gangster, you know.
Oh.
And I was waiting for some kind of a shootout with him and somebody, and so I didn't appreciate the dialogue. But today, oh my God, the dialogue is it's amazing to me.
It's one of my favorite scripts. The scripts for Casablanca and Back to the Future are two of my favorites.
Yeah, just every line is just amazing, you know, and it has so many quotes, but so many of the quotes that you don't even hear are great also. Like so many just throwaway lines.
My first experience with Casablanca, I was 13, and I was going through my phase of trying to get into classic movies, and I think I watched 3 in a row that really made me think maybe this isn't my thing. I watched The Godfather, I watched Reservoir Dogs, and I watched it was another one from it was the Maltese Falcon. And I thought, I don't think I can do this. I'm like, I'm not entertained. I'm bored stiff.
Really?
I watched those and Citizen Kane, and I was like, I think I give up.
Well, Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
And then the next movie that I watched was Casablanca, and I watched...
Got you back on track?
Yeah, I watched that, On the Waterfront, and 12 Angry Men all in one shot.
Oh, yeah.
And...
those were good choices.
Yeah. And that's why I'm sitting in this chair right now.
I'm glad
those movies.
I'm glad you didn't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I don't know. I like I said, I thought it was going to be something different. I don't know, because I'd watched James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart, and it was different. I gave it another shot. Well, we should also say that I just turned 63, so this is the generation gap.
I'll be 25 in December.
Yeah, so, but yet we both love a lot of the same films, which is great, because these films really do span different ages, you know?
Well, so if you're 63, so that movie came out even several years before you were on the scene too. So that's at least, what is that? Is that going to be 80? That's over 80 years old.
Isn't that crazy?
That movie is.
And it holds up so well.
It is.
Not all films do. Although I do find a lot of the gangster films, even though it seems a little outdated, they still hold up well. The stories are still, and they're acted so well.
Total sidebar, but the original Scarface is like one of my top movies of the 1930s.
Yeah. Just great films, great actors, and just realism, I think, you know. But anyway, so I just think the script is still just amazing, and it deserves all the credit it gets.
Let's talk about some of those quotes, like the ones. There are some that I heard growing up that stuck with and seem to still stick with, like of all the gin joints.
Oh yeah.
Quote that gets thrown a ton.
Yeah.
And then the last 5 minutes of that movie, there's 12.
It's all quotable.
Yeah, and I think they're all in the American Film Institute for top 100 quotes. There's a lot.
Oh, that has more than any other film.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And but
there's so many. I just recently I saw. I think I read that he says, "Here's looking at you, kid," 4 times in the film, and supposedly it was just an offhand comment he made to Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah.
During production, which I thought was interesting too. Like it wasn't something scripted necessarily. And then he kind of added it.
So is the playing chess with himself, actually. That was
Yeah.
something Bogart actually just
First time you
did.
see him, yeah, that's what he's doing.
And
yeah.
it's so telling because then if you watch like the rest of the movie, he's so clearly playing chess with so many people,
Yeah.
especially the last third. It's just
Yeah. And it also says, "I stick my neck out for no one," several
another good
times. Yeah, another great one. So many great quotes.
But then there's the one that everybody gets wrong.
Oh yeah,
Play it, Sam.
Play it again, Sam.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't ever
he never
say.
actually says.
No.
Um,
She says, "Play it, Sam,"
mhm.
and then he says, "You played it for her. You can play it for me."
Do you-
Close.
Do you have a favorite quote in this movie?
I think one of my favorites is I just was thinking about it today. Well, it's funny because even Round Up the Usual Suspects.
That's a
I
great
think
one,
that's
too.
also said a couple times.
That's where that movie came from in 1995. That's the name.
Right, The Usual Suspects. Yeah, another great film. Yeah, yeah. It's even lending its quotes to other film titles. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one I just was thinking about. I thought of one today, and I said that's another great quote. I don't know. You might have to pick this up while I think about that a second.
My personal favorite is actually never one of the ones that's talked about. It's Claude Rains trying to come up with an excuse to clear out Rick's bar. And he does the "I am shocked to find gambling going on in here."
Yeah.
And somebody goes, "You're winning, sir." And he goes, "Thank you." And he walks away.
That is great.
It's not in the top teners. No one talks about it. It's my favorite line in the whole movie because he's
great.
so good.
He's great in that film.
Oh my gosh,
he is so entertaining. Every scene he's in is like you wish he was in more scenes even because every scene he's in is just so entertaining.
I guess we should talk about what it's about a little bit. Too.
Yeah.
So Casablanca is the story of. I'm gonna summarize and spoilers for a movie that's older than both of us. But Casablanca is a story of a bar and restaurant owner in Casablanca on the cusp of World War II.
An American expatriate.
An American, the only one in the film, who's aware of a lot of the underhanded back and forth going on between the locals, people who are coming in trying to escape to America or freedom in general,
and all the corruption breeds,
both the people, like the actual government and the incoming German occupation. There's a lot of tension in this movie based on the changing of world power and what's coming. The feeling of World War II, like being full-blown war, is so heavily on the horizon. And it's another line that doesn't get talked about a lot is they're sleeping all over America, which is coming from a movie that takes place after World War II. Obviously, you know where it's coming.
Right. There's even a scene, just to cut you off 1 second, there's even a scene when Major Strasser asks Rick, Humphrey Bogart, like, how would you feel about a German, Europe? How about America? And then Rick actually says, well, some parts of New York might be a little tricky, a little hard for you. But he's really talking about world domination there, And that was a real threat at the time.
And the character of Rick plays it really very third party. Like, he's very impartial for
he's very aloof.
That's kind of his whole deal until this woman walks back into his life, back into his bar. Ilsa, played by the incomparable Ingrid Bergman. With her husband, who is a freedom fighter who has just escaped a Nazi concentration camp.
Yeah, and unlike Rick, whose motto is "I stick my neck out for nobody."
All this guy does is stick his neck out.
He sticks his neck out constantly, yeah.
And what follows is the only love triangle plot I actually have ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
It's literally the only one.
And you're kind of rooting for all of them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's no
that's the whole point.
real bad guys in it,
It is the best, in my opinion, bittersweet ending of any movie because you don't feel like anyone got cheated.
No.
I don't feel like anybody got gypped out of their ending.
No.
I feel like it's the right thing that should have happened.
It is, and you almost feel like maybe Rick's character grew a little bit too.
100%.
Yeah.
Or he grew back. I think that.
Yeah, you're right. That's a better term too, because he was there before.
Because one of the interesting things, and it comes out throughout the story, is that like Rick's backstory, he was a freedom fighter. Claude Rains' character, is it Renault?
Yeah.
Brings up his record and almost like in a conversational way. Though I've noticed you keep ending up in these revolutions always on the side of.
And then Rick tries to play it off by saying, "Yeah, always money.
It's just money,
it's just money, but not really."
There's always more money in the winnings in the other side.
He's very principled. Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
It's almost like he doesn't want people to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Bogart performance. I love Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah,
being
I do
totally
too.
transparent. He's one of my favorites. Um,
And I don't know if you knew this, but Paul Heinried wasn't him.
he's great.
Yeah, he
in
wasn't
this.
impressed with Bogart. He considered him
Really?
a mediocre actor, and they weren't impressed with him because they also thought he was kind of snobbish. But you don't see that in the film. They play it all really well.
I don't get a lot out of. He's probably the one actor I wish gave a little bit more. But I
Yeah.
almost think that with the character he's playing,
Yeah, it's sort of fitting, I think.
yeah, he's allowed to be like the aloof,
He
like
is.
knight on the horse
Yeah,
type deal,
right.
where I don't feel a whole lot.
And I don't connect with him at all. Like, I feel like I connect more with Bogart.
But neither does Elsa.
Right.
Ingrid Bergman. The whole point of her,
I think she's just loyal.
her struggle. She's loyal to him because she married him because
Right.
he
And
did.
I think she also really
She admires
admires
him.
Yeah,
She
exactly.
admires
I
him.
don't think she's in love with him. I think she admires him.
Yeah,
I think she's in love with Bogart, which is
100%.
clear. Yeah, yeah.
We all are.
Yeah, we all are. In that film especially, yeah.
Everyone in that movie is like obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everyone in that movie is obsessed with
Yeah.
him.
Including Peter Lorre. And by the way, I just read something the other day
I love
about
that
how
guy.
Yeah, oh, he's great. But how Bogart helped Laurie out throughout his life. I don't know if did you know that? I just
knew that
read
they
that.
were. I knew that there was involvement there. I didn't know what the
Yeah,
extent of it
even
was.
when Laurie was really kind of on the skids and wasn't doing well, like Bogart would actually reach out to him, and people would ask him like, "Why do you keep reaching out to him?" Because a lot of times Laurie wasn't really even responsive. I think maybe he was embarrassed or ashamed. I'm not sure, but because he really kind of let himself go after a while. But Bogart really just said like he was a friend, and I think that's kind of how he was in real life with his friends. You know.
I've gotten a Bogart kind of has like one of those vibes of. I think because he wasn't one of the super attractive leading men in Hollywood, he came
Yeah.
across as so much of that more like tough as nails grit, like this is a real guy,
Yeah.
which really does him a service
Oh, yeah.
in this movie especially, but in all of his films. in
Yeah,
my
and it's
opinion.
funny because he was a leading man, yeah, right, but he doesn't
Yeah.
have, he doesn't have the typical leading man
No,
looks.
no, he
But
looks.
boy, he worked it.
Yeah. No, I really do think that his charisma in this movie is crazy.
Oh, it is.
And
Every scene, yeah.
and his chemistry with everyone that he's on screen with, like his first couple scenes with Peter Lorre, who doesn't make it very far in this movie,
No.
are very good, and there's so much good character setup in such a little amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, really quickly because Peter Lorre kind of comes and goes, and yet you feel like he's pretty fleshed out.
Yep, and
And it's even so horrible, like you really, my heart kind of breaks when they come and get him, and he's asking Rick, and again, Rick, I'm not sticking my neck out for anyone.
But you look at even the way that he treats like Sam, who works in that piano
Oh,
joint,
yeah.
and that's a great performance
It
too. And
is
that
also.
guy, I'm trying to think of his
Dooley
name.
Wilson.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't know if he did a whole lot besides that movie.
I don't think he
either.
did, no.
Oh,
And he didn't even play piano; he played drums. Which
I
is
did know
funny.
that.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
funny.
Yeah.
That score is great too. As
Oh,
time
yeah.
goes by.
Yeah.
But every performance in this movie that's bouncing off of Bogart is like everyone is affected by him.
Everyone's elevated, I think.
Yeah,
so,
and he is playing it so unaffected up until Bergman walks in. And the way that they shoot her too is different than they shoot everybody else. It's the way they shoot a lot of like the women in those times, especially
Yeah.
like the leading women.
like through a soft lens almost
Yeah,
or something.
like elevated light and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she really gives off. She starts out so also detached in a way,
Yeah.
and then the movie peels back layers of her, and she's really interesting to watch
Yeah.
develop too.
It's an amazing story too, and again, it was kind of a throwaway, which really shocks me still to this day that it was just going to be just another one of the films released that year.
Which let's talk a little bit about the director.
Yeah, Michael Curtiz. Yeah.
What else? 'Cause
Well, one of my favorite films he did was also with Bogart. It was Angels with Dirty Faces,
Right.
Which I think you've seen.
he did The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn.
Right, another great film. Yeah.
I had a list of his pulled up because I knew I was going to forget.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's underrated, but he's not up there in that. You don't hear his name as often.
He didn't have a director's thumbprint, I don't
Right,
think. Like
yeah.
some people definitely did have, but back then they had more carpetbag directors, which
Yeah,
like they just
yeah.
kind of did. He did do Mildred Pierce. That was the other one I was
Oh
trying
yeah,
to think
another
of.
good one. Yeah.
And a lot of the work because it was during the studio system.
Right.
They just worked for that studio, and that's just what they did.
Right. I think his best direction was just letting the actors act. I mean, I think I don't know if they needed all that much. I don't know. I almost get so engrossed in the story that I forget to notice anything else.
The other two big ones that he did that I wanted to bring up were Yankee Doodle Dandy
Oh yeah.
with James Cagney,
Yeah.
and he did White Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Totally different type of film.
Yeah, which is another, it's a good film, but I
It
wouldn't
is.
put it on the same level of
No.
Casablanca,
No,
for sure.
no, definitely not. That's his crowning achievement.
But again, it was like an accident, which is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And the score by Max Steiner is also really impressive. Not just the notable songs, but even the background music is very.
It really.
It's kind of like a John Williams before John Williams. You know, it's the flourishes here and there.
One of my favorite, one of my favorite things. I cannot go any longer without talking about Claude Rains.
Oh, he's so amazing in that. Every time I see that, and is that a toupee in there? I've never looked
so.
it up.
I think that's his hair.
Is it his hair? I wonder because I noticed it looks pretty real, but it also looks kind of. I'm not used to seeing him with that full head of hair like that.
Claude Rains is one of my, and this is weird because like for the era, he is one of my top 10 classic film actors of all time, and
he is so good.
He tops out. He is so. Every line that he has, he delivers. Even when he's in mortal peril, he is in such rare form the whole movie. It looks like he's like smirking the whole movie.
Yeah, he seems like he's having a great time no matter what's going on around him. Even when Rick is getting questions, you look. I was noticing him in the background smiling.
Yeah,
like he's enjoying every moment.
Oh,
of that film, or I don't know.
When he sits down to have a drink with Rick and Ilsa and her husband, who they know is on the run.
Right.
They know that, and as the really like the chief authority that's left for whatever that's worth underneath German occupation.
Yeah.
He knows he has no power, but what power he has, he's enjoying because he's scum. Like he is an awful person.
Oh, he's horrible. Yeah, he's
horrible.
Yeah, he's horrible to everybody.
But
equally.
But he's fascinated by Rick.
Yeah.
And it's not even just
he seems charmed by him. He really is charmed. And he says that.
Yeah.
He says it openly.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
There's such an intellectual, I think there's an intellectual enjoyment. He enjoys how sharp Rick is and how like the verbal back and forth.
Yeah.
But there's a part of him I think that really does admire him, and that comes out in the end really when he switches sides. Not really because he believes in it, but I think just because he may as well. I don't get the vibe that he believes in a revolution.
No.
Just
I think he just is kind of happy to be on Rick's side and with Rick, and that's another great line, of course.
It's a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, a beautiful friendship. Yeah, and we're happy for that.
Yeah,
kind of want them two to get together, even though they're kind of opposites.
But I'm happy there's no sequel. Like I don't want.
No,
I don't want.
Yeah,
I don't want to see anything else.
No, I don't think that would have done.
That was the end.
That just made me think of another one of my favorite lines is when they ask him about what's Rick like. And then he says, "Well, if I was a woman, I would want to be dating Rick." Yeah. It was a funny line the way he delivered. And again, the way he delivered it was just great.
He's charming effortlessly the whole film. He's fantastic.
It's funny if you're not glued to looking at Rick Humphrey Bogart. I'm always looking at every scene Claude Rains is in. I'm just watching his actions, his faces. And like I said, he seems so happy all the time. No matter how the world's falling apart around him, and he's enjoying it.
He's also really got the vibe. There's a lot of gray area in this movie, and like that's in so many World War II movies are so quick to paint the black and the white, the good guys, the bad guys.
Yeah.
Even movies made long after the fact, like like
we knew
the Indiana Jones movies are like really good. The Nazis are just kind of like these big
and
black and white. These are just villains.
Right. And everyone else is good or better anyway.
I'm not gonna come out here and say that like there's shades of gray for the Third Reich or anything, but I think it's interesting that the characters in Casablanca, Rick is our protagonist, but I'm not calling him a good guy.
Right.
There's
really until the end doesn't do anything for anyone.
But even I just lost his name, but Ilsa's husband, Laszlo. Yeah. Victor Laszlo. He's a hero. Like he is easily like a good guy.
He's the guy that we should be admiring, and yet we don't. I don't feel that way.
But anyway. Even like he has moments of humanity too, where he is, especially where she's concerned.
Right.
Where like she's his priority as well as the revolution, and she's fantastic because
he's even a good husband.
Yeah,
being such a good
great.
person.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
and Claude Rains' character is so
reprehensible.
But he kind of knows it.
Yeah, he seems to relish it.
Yeah, but he's also not a fan of the Germans. Like he's very much aware that his best move is to lay low and just blow with the wind.
He's kind of playing both sides.
He really
is his best move. Yeah, because he doesn't know how it's going to end either. You know, he's hoping he'll end up in the favor of whoever wins.
Yep, and it ends up really not. Depending on how you look at it, it works out or it doesn't for him because he's on the underdog side at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and he feels like he's in Rick's favor, which is not a bad.
Not a bad
to be
side
at the end, right? Yeah.
That's
so funny. Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shades of gray, and I think like the sung stars of the film, though, is like the supporting cast. I'm not even talking like Sydney Greenstreet. I'm talking like way supporting.
Oh.
One of my favorite. Last time I rewatched this, which I did recently because I knew we were going to talk about it, is the series of scenes with that couple who are looking to buy passports. To get out
Yeah.
Of, to get
I don't even know their
Casablanca.
names, but I know they pop up constantly.
I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that movie, I focus on her especially.
Yeah.
She is so.
They're waiting for those letters of transit.
They need this. This is the way out, and she's willing to sacrifice so much for it.
Yeah.
And it's breaking her, and
Yeah.
she's willing to sacrifice because she thinks it's their only shot out.
Right.
They're huge. The woman who
and they really convey the desperation.
They really do.
Of the real people
Everyone.
at the time. Yeah.
And part of it too is I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't talked about it yet. A lot of the cast were Eastern European immigrants.
Yeah.
Especially like on the cusp of what was the tensions rising in that part of the world.
Right.
A lot of them got out of there pretty much like as the storm was coming in.
Yeah.
And the scene where they're singing the French national anthem is
right.
Even it's not a Rick-centric scene. It's not even an Elsa-centric scene, but it is my favorite scene in the whole movie.
It's a great scene. Yeah, it really sets the whole mood, and you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're starting off singing the German anthem or whatever,
Yep,
right?
and Victor Laszlo goes to strike up the band,
right.
and Rick lets him.
Right.
I think that's Rick's first move.
I agree. That's you see something change right there.
The opener of his where he's starting to let.
Because he would have, before I think he would have just said, no, neither, or whatever. He would have played it neutrally.
Mm-hmm.
But he favors, obviously, Laszlo.
The performances that cast gives in that moment is huge.
Yeah.
There are like, tears in people's eyes during that scene, and it affects you. Even if you don't know the history, you feel it. People who are unable to take pride in their own country because they're being told it's not theirs anymore is insane.
Yeah.
And
it's funny, yeah. It's such a sheer moment of patriotism, and you feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably an innate feeling.
And it's a feeling of bravery in the face of everything against you, because it's not even hope. It's a very hopeless movie. It doesn't end with like American involvement in the war. The only like really good thing that happens at the end of this that you could qualify is
Rick's decision
and getting Victor Laszlo, who is a figurehead of the revolution, out of the country.
Right.
That's really
saving him. You're right. Yeah.
Which is
because that was the whole point. Also, the subplot was all that they were setting it up to just get rid of him.
Yep.
They were waiting for him.
He is he's at the center of the whole film, and he is such a relative non-presence. Like everyone else is moving the pieces on the board,
right? Yeah.
To try to get him.
To get him. Yeah.
The Germans want him gone because he is such a figurehead that he is. Especially after having escaped a concentration camp, their best option is to keep him as quiet as possible. Right. Yeah. The last thing they need is a martyr.
Right. And death is in store. I mean, they're not going to just imprison him.
But they do know that killing him is also setting him up as a martyr.
Yeah, that's true.
They're stuck in a no-win as well.
Right. Yeah. And the people love him for what he's doing. Yeah.
And that's really the tragedy is, if we're gonna go ahead and talk about like the romance subplot, or I guess like the main like driving force in the movie, is Rick's love for Elsa.
Yeah.
So the way that it works out is when Elsa comes back into Rick's life, they had already had this relationship years ago in France, and she disappears.
Right. Without a word.
She leaves a note. The day that they are fleeing Paris, on the day that the Germans are marching in, and she leaves a note that with really no explanation of I'm sorry, I love you, but I have to go.
Right.
He has not forgiven her at all when she comes back on the scene. He is still grieving her. And
we should say too, the reason she leaves him is because she assumed her husband was dead, and then she finds out that he's actually still alive and ill, so she goes to take care of him. So it's also a noble.
It's extremely, but from the perspective, because you're with Rick for the first 2/3 of the film, you don't know. So you're with him in a way, like you understand that she probably has a reason, but you're stewing in his hurt and his anger for their first couple of scenes.
Right.
She, like her coming back into his life isn't just like an unpleasant like meeting your ex in public. It is a bomb going off. It's
it reopens those wounds.
It's
had never healed. Obviously.
It's his worldview comes back crashing down because clearly in between her leaving him on that train station platform and where he is now has hardened him into the person he is.
Right. Very bitter.
Very bitter and very much
And when we do
Very
see glimpses
selfish.
of them together, which I think they do an excellent
He's great.
job at. It's like a little montage
Mm-hmm.
of 5 or 6 scenes where they're really enjoying each other's company. It's done really well. But he seems like a different person.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
laughing, smiling. Maybe because of her, but you almost get the sense that that's kind of who he was then.
Mm-hmm.
And he's definitely not that now.
No, and there is too like a sense about her. There's one really great conversation that they have where she does allude that like doesn't really matter who we were before we met each other,
Right.
and in hindsight, it's because she's married
Right.
and thinks her husband's dead. Like
Right,
she's had a lot going on.
She does. You're right. She does play that close to the vest, and she does say that there's no one else. Which is basically something like that.
Yeah.
Which is all he needs to know.
It's really good flashback, and in only a handful of scenes, in hindsight, they build up a relationship that you buy as to why it's tearing them apart in the present.
Yeah.
Because when they come back into each other's lives, it's not just, hey, we were exes, it didn't work out. It's they're both so clearly, passionately in love with each other.
You really do feel it. It's so well conveyed.
And it kills her to have to say goodbye to him again. That's why she puts it all on him.
Right.
And actually the biggest thing at the end of this is, so if you're going to go with, a lot of times it's been compared to the beginning of we've even talked about it at the beginning of World War II, Rick as the stand-in for the United States in general.
Right.
Where he has to make the decision to stop playing neutral and actually step in.
Right.
When do you decide to stand up? And again, the film was released after, like post Pearl Harbor,
Right.
so we know obviously what America does.
Yeah.
But for Rick, it is a matter of when is the injustice you're seeing enough to stand up and actually get involved and do something again.
Stop not sticking your neck out for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When you start sticking your neck out.
Yeah, and in this case especially, you watch it happen slowly, because he responds like really angry in the first couple of scenes where she's asking for him to intervene. He wants no part of this, and he actually holds out on Laszlo, almost like...
Yeah, you're not really sure until the very end.
Yeah,
and you're really not quite sure.
Yeah, he's
and
even holding it.
He even kind of... Well, he tells everyone else that is his plan.
Mm-hmm.
That he's going to go with Ilsa, or stay with her, whichever.
And she believes it.
Yeah.
That's the heartbreaking thing, is when she comes to him at the end and demands a letter of transit for her husband, which, a brief aside for explanation, is pretty much a free pass out of the country, cannot be questioned, which is invaluable to someone who's wanted by the state.
Right, yeah. Which, by the way, have you ever heard? I don't think they actually exist. I think that was a MacGuffin. I think it was just something created for the script.
I would believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I feel like they would check.
Yeah.
There is, at the end of the film, when she comes in and demands it and everything, and when she breaks down and wants to stay with him and says, you have to make the decision for both of us.
Yeah.
And he plays it, and everyone thinks, and even as an audience member, I think we kind of are led to believe that he could go any way with it.
Right.
And she buys that she's staying with him, and that they're sending just Laszlo alone until he breaks it to her.
Right. And even before that, he says, "I'm no good at being noble." And you believe that. He's probably not, and yet he is noble.
There is something really interesting too in like the Bogart hero character in the 1940s. Like contextually, your average hero did not look like Humphrey Bogart. Your leading man was, even in like drama, I would say this is not the guy that you're looking at. You want almost more of like an Errol Flynn, maybe not quite that stagey, but like somebody who's going to pull this off and be the audience really believes that they're going to do the right thing.
Right.
This is during an era where like stuff was heavily moralized.
Yeah.
So like if people did bad things, they had to be punished by the end. That type of deal.
Good had to win.
Good had to win, and it had to be clearly good.
Yeah.
Shades of Grey weren't really
white
popular
and
back
black.
then.
Really was,
And you see that a lot with a lot of like the big films, like the big poster films of those years.
Yeah.
Even though like we look back on the noir as being some of their best work, it didn't always make the most money or was the most successful movies of the year by any means.
Right.
But
and they weren't always good people either.
No.
Again. Yeah.
But Rick is such a unique choice for a protagonist, just because it's a very like good is not nice.
Right.
Even at the end, he's never nice. The gruff exterior never drops.
No.
He's still holding on to that, but it's a matter of that he's now actively making the right choice as opposed to just letting the right choice happen in front of him, which is huge.
That's a good point. Yeah, because there is a difference between being good and being nice, and he's never really nice, but he's well, I can't even say he's always good.
Yeah.
He's good at the end when it counts. He's good, and that's what matters.
But if you're going to continue to make that comparison to America, which so many people do, the moment that he decides to actually turn around and start doing the right thing, is also in a way motivated by selfishness. At least it looks that way in the beginning. Everyone in this movie is selfish, and they're doing it for selfish reasons.
Yeah, they're self-motivated.
Yeah, everyone is, except for Victor Laszlo,
right?
Who is
kind of an afterthought in some ways.
Yeah, but is so selfless and so motivated by everyone else that he elevates everyone around him to want to do the right thing or to try to snuff him out.
Because you'd feel, how would you not feel horrible by not doing that? You know? Yeah.
He's a figurehead, and that's a big deal for that current.
How do you feel about it? Like I was just thinking too, like at the end, knowing it's kind of a weird thing. He doesn't know. Victor doesn't know, luckily, but we, the audience, know that she was willing to stay behind with Rick. You know, it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there.
So I'm not for cheating, and I hate movies that encourage that that where that's a subplot. I do not like the cheating spouse.
Right.
I never liked it as a trope.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
In that case, I feel like it's wrong but sympathetic. Like I get where she's coming from. She was in love with Rick.
Right.
And she fell in love with him at a time where she didn't think that was wrong.
Right. Her husband was dead.
Yeah, so for her,
he was perfect timing. Like he was her savior.
Yeah, and it's not even like I don't get the feeling that he's a bounce back. I get the feeling that she really came to care about him.
I agree, and I think she really loves him. I think, sadly, even more than she loves Victor.
I agree, and
because
she even says that.
Again, I think Victor is someone she admires greatly, but maybe doesn't love as much as she loves Rick.
I get the vibe from Victor and Ilsa's relationship. It's very much like an old-fashioned. It just seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
Type deal where it's like it made sense.
Yeah.
I didn't love him.
Yeah.
But
we're fighting for the same cause. We have the same beliefs.
And he's a good man.
Right.
I know I'm going to be taken care of.
Right.
So of course,
right,
yeah,
right.
And
but
she's
I'm not passionate about it.
No, and she's young when she marries him too. And she says that.
Yeah.
When she meets Rick, she's a little bit older. She's a little bit more world weary, and he's very world weary at this point.
Yeah.
There are quite a few years between them.
Right. Yeah.
And he, I think, elevates her in a way that she is able to feel passionate about him, and she still does. I don't even think she fell out of love with him when she realized Laszlo was alive. She's still in love with him. It's not a matter of she stopped.
Yeah.
When it's just a matter of it's duty versus everything else. It's for her.
Versus self, yeah.
Yeah. So when she goes back to Victor, it's because it's the right thing to do.
Right. I should wonder, how do you think that worked out? Do you think they stayed together?
I think they did.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did.
I think back then people did anyway. And they had the basis anyway.
Victor is such a pillar of the right thing.
Right.
And the movie never talks about morally the right and wrong, black and white.
Right.
Nobody sits down and has a conversation about it, but he is so clearly duty bound.
Which also works in the movie's favor. It doesn't really hit you on the head with morality.
No, it kind of I think that's why it's held up so well. Is it lets you pull it together. And
it really is. It's shocking to me that people didn't know they had this great hit on their hands.
I know.
Every time I hear that, I read that, I'm almost like, really? I don't know if I believe that.
It's got,
know.
The sharpest script ever written, and you guys had
really,
no idea.
Greatest scripts, so many quotable lines, and like I said, so many that aren't well known.
Yeah,
just every line in there is cracking.
Mm-hmm. The whole script, every scene is full of tension. I think is the best word for the whole thing.
Yeah. It's always it's always present. And like you said, even the smallest cast members, names I never heard of, everyone's great, and everyone has a story, and they feel fleshed out, even though they don't flesh them out necessarily. You feel like you can relate to them, just because of the predicament and the situation. Yep,
and Rick's staff too is all very aware of what he's like the way that he plays it, and there's a lot of comments made about, Rick never does XYZ, and then you see him doing it later.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like a betrayal or an inconsistency in writing. It feels very much like he's changing or evolving, or that people's perceptions of him maybe are.
Right.
And that chess game that goes on between Rick, Ilsa, Sidney Greenstreet's character, who's just great as always to watch. Yeah. Between Claude Rains, between the German occupation, everyone is playing their own side, and
Yeah.
it's fascinating to watch them bounce the pieces around.
It really is. It's just an amazing film to watch. It really is.
Mhm.
If you haven't seen it, you have to see it.
Yeah,
You
I'm
really
definitely
do.
with you on
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
It's an all-timer.
it is. It really is.
Do you have like a favorite character
Well, I
or
mean,
performance?
I love Rick, but I thought Peter Lorre is just, he's not in it much.
Like 10 minutes
Yeah,
screen
but
time.
he's great. You know, that, and I don't know. You know, you see him in other films where he's not really likable. Especially if you see like M, for example. You know?
Yeah.
But he's likable, even though he's not a good person. I feel sorry for him. Like I really feel moved when he's begging Rick to help him.
Mhm.
Like you feel like, oh, this guy, you know, he's also self motivated. Everyone is,
Mhm.
but there's something sympathetic about him. And maybe it's just his big eyes. I don't know.
He has a very distinct look
Yeah,
and,
he sure
and
does.
voice.
Yeah. He's in fine form in that film too.
Yeah, he's great. We talk a lot about Bogart, who is one of my favorite actors of all time. But my all-time favorite is it's gotta go to Claude Rains.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
Oh yeah. He's great in that.
I could watch that
And
guy.
he's great in so many films.
Yeah.
I can't think of the title of the one I loved. I wish I could think of it, but it was the one where he's really evil and he's plotting to kill his wife.
Oh.
Did we talk about it, or do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I know this
of it.
one.
Yeah. Oh, we should watch that and
Okay.
do a talk on that. It's also really well done, and I think she's having an affair. But you know, even that he's being cheated on, you still hate him. He's just so despicable.
Wow.
And you can understand why she would be having an affair because he's such a horrible character. But he really is. He's a great actor.
He's usually villains.
Yeah, he usually
So,
is.
Yeah, I think it's the voice. He's got such a great voice.
Yeah.
But it's not at all what we're talking about, or only loosely. But I love him in The Wolfman.
Oh yeah.
And he's not the villain. But I think that's a great nuanced performance by him. But I could watch Claude Rains like paint walls.
Oh,
that's
I know.
how.
Yeah.
That's how
Does
much
he
I
ever
love
give a
that
bad
guy.
performance?
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it. Yeah.
I've seen movies where everything else is kind of boring, but he's not.
Yeah, even in The Adventures of Robin Hood, he's great in that.
Oh my gosh, he's great in that.
Yeah. He almost steals the film, you know, like
In my opinion, he does.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every scene he's in is amazing.
My favorite scene in Casablanca, I think, has got to go to, like I said, the French national anthem.
Yeah.
That is such a powerhouse of like an emotional pinpoint. It's the lynch point. It holds the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I think together from an emotional standpoint. It's good.
Yeah. And again, it connects with the audience, like I said. 'Cause I feel like that's kind of a universal feeling, you know, that sort of pride in self and nation, you know, and you may not even be aware of it until you're in that situation. I always felt like if I was ever somewhere else, even seeing the American flag, like how that would hit you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're lost or attacked or whatever, being held hostage, and you see the U.S. flag, you know, you're going to have that connection. I feel like in situations like that, you will.
Homeland is a big deal.
Yeah.
There's such and the 1940s was a different era in terms of like nationalism, definitely. Like now we're more critical towards it.
Right.
For sure. But back then, I think there was such a feeling of identification with where you were from or where you lived.
Yeah.
That for a lot of these people, it wasn't just a matter of like who was in charge, quote unquote, like whether it was the Germans or the French. It did matter. This is their home.
Right.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite sequence?
Really, the whole film is so good. It's kind of hard to even. I love every scene with Rick and Claude Rains.
The whole movie.
Some people were in Claude Rains. I do love every scene. Yeah, the whole movie. Really, I mean, I don't find anything. To me, there's no boring scenes.
Yeah, I'm never checking my watch when I'm watching.
No, never, no. And I don't know how long it's. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, maybe or so.
It's long.
Sure.
Or like 2 hours ish. Yeah.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel like that. Like I kind of wish it was longer. And how often do you feel like that at a movie? You know.
Not too.
I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
Not too often. You know. Because there's really no like action sequences. You know.
No.
It's really dialogue, but the dialogue is just so crisp.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's really entertainment.
It really is.
And you run a whole gamut of emotions in it. You know.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore.
No, I know. Have you heard, just as an aside, I look at it every single time. Have you heard this story that supposedly they used midgets in the film at the end?
I did hear that. Yeah, that's That's not a thing.
I find that hard to believe, though.
I don't think they did.
You don't think it's true?
No, I think it's
because I look at it, I'm like, I guess I could kind of see it, but I've read it so many times that I'm assuming it's true. I don't know because they didn't have the distance.
I think it's an urban legend.
Is it an urban legend?
could
Yeah,
be
I wouldn't be
wrong.
surprised. I'd like to look more into that and see. Only because I keep seeing that every time I look at facts about it. There's always that line.
But you're the big time trivia guy. What's the notable trivia that we haven't covered?
About that film?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think most of it has been is kind of well known. I can't really think. That was one, that thing about the using dwarfs or whatever for the distant shot because the budget was so low. If that is true, that's pretty creative, I guess. I don't know. I don't think there were. I think there were only 3 Americans in the entire cast. You know, Dooley Wilson, Humphrey Bogart, and someone else lower level. So it really is an international cast. I don't know. I'd have to look up some interesting trivia and add it. I don't know. I really don't have much.
Yeah, I feel like most of like the really good bits is the stuff that we've kind of already.
Yeah, I think even the trivia is probably well known. You know, it's really mostly just about the film.
Yeah, I'm really. This is one of those films, and just like on a personal note, my grandfather, my mom's dad, was not a fan of Humphrey Bogart, like at all. He liked him in The African Queen. That was pretty much it. I never met him, but I kind of wonder if he ever saw this because I cannot imagine walking away from this and not liking him. Yeah,
he must never have seen it. Probably didn't like him, so he didn't see it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
African Queen's another great film.
That is a really good one.
Yeah,
And Katharine Hepburn runs a gambit of. I love her a lot as an actress, but some of the choices that she makes in some movies.
Questionable.
I just think that she can be very easily written to be a little bit much.
It's funny. I'm never really a big fan of her. I appreciate her skills, her talents, but even in like Bringing Up Baby, where she's really the comedic focal point, I don't know. I didn't really care for that. Like Cary Grant was kind of just reacting to her.
I don't like Cary Grant.
Oh, you don't?
So, yeah,
oh, then you wouldn't feel the same way.
No, I sat through it and went, nah.
Yeah. Well, that I don't like, and it's funny. That's one of his supposedly
One of
his
his big
best, and
ones.
I don't really
Yeah.
love that one.
Yeah.
I liked him in other roles. I thought he was more believable. He was a little over the top for me in some scenes too. I really didn't care for him in Arsenic and Old Lace, which is funny. That's also a classic.
I like him in The Philadelphia Story because he's the only thing in the room not exploding.
Right. Which is the opposite of Arsenic and Old Lace,
where he's
over the
just
top.
Philadelphia Story is one that I would like to talk about at some point in the future.
Yeah, we should.
I love them.
Or Gunga Din is also great.
Gunga Din's good too.
Yeah, it's not really as much a comedy, although he's comedic in it. Just like real life, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a great film. He was good in that.
I would rather watch everything Jimmy Stewart's ever made, and that includes his terrible stuff, than sit through some of Cary Grant's best considered stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
But hey, that's one of the fun things about film. It's subjective.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I think we're really gonna enjoy. Like this is the debut of us sitting down and talking about this.
Yeah.
And we might come back to this film at some point in the future when we're more polished. I'm always okay with watching this movie again.
Oh, me too. Yeah, we should watch it together and then comment.
Yeah, but we have to not say anything during the movie, or I'll never shut up.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah. I might take some notes though.
But one thing that I think is going to be interesting is not only from a generation gap standpoint, but just from two people who just really enjoy movies. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we are unified on, I think, in opinion, but I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be finding we're really not on the same page about, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Art is subjective, and it's
right.
good to be able to sit down and talk about, hey, this worked for me, this didn't.
Right. No,
and
I know. That'd be great. And you know what's funny? I feel like it'd be interesting. I might not be around to see it, but it would be interesting to see if you change your mind about certain things. Because certain things I felt a certain way strongly about when I was your age. Like, just for one quick example, the movie HUD, which I love, with Paul Newman and Melvin Douglas. As a kid, when I was your age, I loved Paul Newman, and I kind of didn't like Melvin Douglas's character, for those who are familiar with the film. And then as an older person, as a father, I'm like, yeah, Paul Newman really is. He's a heel. And I'm relating to Melvin Douglas more, which is weird. As you go through different stages of your life, your affection for certain characters may change,
I don't think anything's going to make me like The Godfather.
Really?
I
We'll have to talk about
And-
that. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I love a lot of stuff in that movie, but
Yeah.
objectively, it works great.
Yeah.
Just personally, I just can't.
Really, that's funny.
Just can't.
Hmm.
But
All right, we'll have to
Casablanca, I don't think is ever gonna.
Yeah,
That's like a rock solid. Like this is the all timer for me.
it really is. And again, like you said, I can't see anyone really not liking it.
Your son doesn't like black and white movies.
Well, that's just black and white as a rule, generally, you know.
Okay.
Although he has watched a few.
Is this an exception?
He hasn't seen this, as far as I know.
Oh,
I'll have to see if I can
we'll
get
have
him
to
to
talk
watch
to
it.
him.
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of kids his age, they're like, oh, it's just black and white. I'm like, yeah, but black and white, some of them, and I used to think it was because it didn't seem as crisp as color, but some of the black and white, the restorations are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it jumps out even more sharp than the color films.
One thing that's interesting too, just from a generation gap perspective. So I feel like a lot of the people that in my circle that I've been able to talk to, it's funny because I feel like I'm not exactly an exception to the rule. Like liking movies older than you isn't something it makes you like really unique, I don't think. And I don't think it should.
Yeah, right.
You know, film is very much history and art and, you know, the combination thereof. And it's usually entertaining, which is even better.
Right. And I do meet a lot of young people who love black and white, and it's a great connecting point.
One of the people that's around my age that I talk to about movies sometimes, some of their favorite stuff is by John Cassavetes, who did like a whole bunch of like really like indie little numbers in like the 70s and 80s that I don't really see his stuff talked about like at all.
Definitely an acquired taste also. Yeah.
He's kind of the same I would put genre as like folk rock, and that it takes a while before I actually enjoy it.
That's
like
a good comparison. I agree. Yeah.
But I think we're gonna find as we do this and get our feet wet with this that there's a lot that's changed over the years too. Like some movies that I think were big or really thought well of, or maybe thought poorly of at the time of their release, the perception has changed as time has passed since that point too. That's gonna be interesting to look at as well.
Yeah, what springs to mind immediately, and most people don't agree with me, but Forrest Gump. I almost feel like were we all deluded at the time? Like what was going on?
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
And it's funny. What did it beat out for the Oscar that year?
It wasn't Schindler's List, was it? I hope not.
No, but it was something really good. I was like, wait, that won over this? I have to look into that too. But I don't know. I just felt like everyone liked it at the time. I think I liked it myself. I went to the movie theater to see it. I look back on it, I'm almost embarrassed by it. Like
really?
I really do feel that way. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, what were we thinking? I don't know. We'll talk about it in depth some other time.
Probably, yeah. We'll do the
we'll
save
have
the
to
Forrest
explore
Gump
that.
episode.
Yeah. But and I'm probably again in the minority with that. But I don't know. Maybe people haven't given it a second view.
That's okay. I think I have to hang up the film badge for not liking
Godfather
or Citizen Kane. I think that's a big.
No, I'm with you on that. I've tried. I honestly have never even gotten through it, and I've tried on
Really?
multiple occasions, like telling myself, "Yeah, if I'm gonna talk about film, I have to see this," and I just could not get through it.
Same.
Yeah.
It's rough.
I can appreciate it, in that sense, but it doesn't mean I have to like it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that I think we'll find it's okay. And this is for a PSA for anybody who listens.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't like everything that we like, or if you, it's like it's totally.
Or even if we don't like the same things.
Yeah, because that's probably gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because there's some movies that I think we're gonna find. Hey,
that's
really.
Why
enjoy.
we go to the film? Yeah, to see. And some
100%.
people walk out disappointed, and some people want to go back and see it again.
That's why Big Trouble in Little China is great now, and it was not in 1986.
Right, and we could talk about that one night too, about all the films that weren't hits.
Yeah.
That later became cult favorites. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That was good.
All right. I don't think we've exhausted the topic, but I think we've exhausted it for now.
For now.
So
right. Yeah, we can always go back to.
Oh
this.
yeah, for sure.
Course, yeah.
So I'm gonna turn off the microphone, and we'll see you
at the movies. Can we say that?
Can we see you at the movies?
Is that trademarked?
I don't know. We'll hear you at the movies.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody so much for listening. If you made it this far,
yeah.
And we're hoping to make this pretty much just a fun, open conversation. So we're anxious to dive in and see what's coming up in the months ahead. So thank you guys so much, and hopefully you'll stick around for something else.